Hi, I'm Kristen from HammockHavenFarm, and we're doing something a little different today. I'm coming to you from the basement, where we have our cheese cave, which is actually just a wine fridge. This is really not fancy, and this is so not fancy that I haven't even checked what's in here before this video. So this is not staged, this is what is in my cheese cave right now. So let's look in here. Now mind you, we are just now getting into milking and cheese making season, so most of this stuff is stuff that I made last summer, last fall. It's been in here a while. I have not cleaned it up since probably February. So it's been about a month since I've come in here and seen what's going on, besides throwing a couple new cheeses in here. So, without further ado, all right, I've got a 2-zone fridge here. I've got them both set to 54 degrees. This here is a little mini humidifier. I don't run it often. It tends to ice up the back in there, but if we're having a dry spell, I will run that some. Or if my cheeses seem like they're drying out, I'll run that. In the past, I've also left a little dish of water if I need more humidity, but over the winter, it's been pretty humid here, so I haven't really felt the need. Up front here, I got a brand new cheddar that I just made. It's all waxed and ready to age. I'm going to age this one at least 6 months. And looks like I pulled some of the wax off, stuck on the shelf, so I'm probably going to have to dip that when I get the wax back out and just fix that one up. This is just a Tom style cheese. It's got a natural rind that I rubbed with olive oil. Oops. So it stayed nice and clean. Hopefully it's not too dry in the middle. I can actually feel some give when I feel it, so it's got a real dry rind. I like to use these mesh mats. You can get these on cheesemaking.com. I use these just to keep them right off the wood shelves, but the waxed ones I just have right on the wood shelves. Oh, back here is a little jack, and it's from September 20th. I like to write, let me see if I can turn this off here. Reset. Okay. I like to write on the outside of the wax with Sharpie, so I have the date that I made it. I know a lot of people say to do a little piece of paper and just stick it in the wax, but I find that those fall off and get lost and it just don't work as well for me. So the Sharpie doesn't bleed through the wax or anything. There are a good 3 layers of wax on there. This one here is a Colby, and I probably wrote Colby on there. Yep. And this one we should probably bring up and cut and see what we ended up with. You can see a couple places on it where the wax cracked and we got some mold up underneath there. It's no big deal. It's not a ruined cheese. You just cut it off. It happens. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's move this baby. Okay, under here, yeah, these are interesting. This is get it out. Well, it's a jack that got really, yeah, this is really interesting. It got really, like, almost mozzarella-y and just kind of collapsed on me, see? So that's from July 23rd of last year. That would be an interesting one to cut and see what we ended up with on that, especially since I just ripped the wax off the bottom. So that one we'll put up here and bring upstairs and see what we ended up with. Hush up. Okay. I do need to get some of these cut and sold and out of here. This is another jack from September, and I made one that actually won in the American Dairy Goat Association Amateur Cheese Contest, and so I've got a bunch of these jacks in here which are attempting to recreate my first place winner. Hopefully that one did. I think I aged the first place winner about 8 or 9 months, so we'll leave that in there a little longer. Now this looks random, I know. It is the lid to a, like one of those sheet cake Tupperwares. And I like to age my bloomy rind cheeses inside one of those Tupperwares. And what I'll do is I'll put one of those cheese mats like I showed you on this top shelf, and then I'll lay out my little bloomy rind cheeses, and then I'll put this lid on cracked so it maintains a higher humidity, but it doesn't get too wet in there. If this is on all the way, it will just get soaking wet in there and just make a mess of your cheese. So I can use the lid here to crack it more or less as needed to maintain my humidity for those bloomy rind ones. And I haven't done any of those yet this year. We'll have to get a video on one of those. Alrighty, down here I got another Colby, and this one's from September. And again, I got some mold going on under the rind on the side. It's just where it gets knocked and the mold comes off, or the wax comes off, and it allows air to get up under there. Perfectly good cheese, just cut it off. This puppy's a little scary looking, I know. This is my experiment with a bandaged rind cheddar. And this is a cloth bandage that's stuck on the cheddar with lard, actually. And supposedly when you remove the rind and cut it and you peel all this off, it's supposed to have really nice flavor and be really pretty inside. It's about time to see what happened with that too. Maybe I'll stick that one up here and we'll see what we got going on. All right, that one can go upstairs. And down here, I just have a few more of these little jacks. They're just ones where I had some extra curd. And so I made a small one instead of making another big one. 3 of those. And these are about ready to cut. They look pretty good. So that's about it for the cheese cave. If you have any questions, just leave it down in the comments for me and I'll try to answer. That's all I can think of. Pretty easy. I did have to remove a couple of the shelves you see here off to the side to make room for all of this. But that's all we did. This is that jack that I brought up from the basement. And now I would say to begin with that this is a failed cheese, which doesn't mean it's not going to be a good cheese. It's just one that didn't come out as I expected. It just was all slumpy and really, really stretchy, I guess, like a mozzarella or something. So let's see what we got in here. And it might be awful. It's a good thing we're not live, right? That could be embarrassing. Okay. Actually, it looks quite beautiful. It smells good. Let's cut a chunk off of here and do the taste test. That's kind of elastic textured. That's delicious. It's got like a nuttiness to it. That's a really tasty cheese. Yeah, so you gotta wait for me to chew now. I'll save this bite for later. That's really, really good. Really good. All right, so failed cheeses sometimes aren't failures. All right, my son said that this one looks worrying. And actually, he's kind of right. It looks and it smells a little worrying. Like all these fancy, funky molds on the outside of this. I brought a trash can over here so I can peel the outside layer off of this. And then we'll decide what we're doing from there. Now, again, this was one that I would consider a failed cheese. I went with a traditional cheddar, like one that you do the cheddaring method and everything. And the curds they weren't pressing together right, and they just, I don't know, something was just off with it. So I decided I would try this and see if it added some better flavor to age it this way. I don't know, just curious. So you see I have 2 layers of muslin over this and 2 layers around the outside. So I guess we'll pull all this off. I feel like I'm unwrapping a mummy here. It doesn't feel mummified, so that's a good thing. All right, there we go. What went on next? Here we go. And the point of this is it's supposed to keep your cheese on the inside fairly clean of molds, which there's still some on there. We're gonna have to clean this rind up some, because this is down to the cheese here. You can see it's still got some molds on there. Come on. It's a little drier around the edges, so it might have not had enough humidity. The wax probably holds the humidity in there better than this. Oof. That's actually pretty darn clean up under that. Look at that. You see? Let me get this thing out of the way. And then I think we're going to pause it here and let me wash my hands and get all this lard and mold and everything off my fingers before I cut into this, and then I'm tasting that on my hands. Here we go. Let's see what we got in here. Alright, it is a little hard on the outsides. Let me get some weight behind it. This might not have kept the humidity in as much as I would like. Ooh. I mean, there is softness to the middle. So this is definitely one where you're going to want to cut the outside off. Alright, let's see what we got. Well, it's a little drier, as you can see, around the outsides. See what it tastes like in here. It's a nice texture though in the middle. I mean, can you see? It's not overly dry. It's a nice kind of crumbly cheddar texture. You know, a traditional English cheddar texture. I mean, I think it would have benefited by some more humidity. The flavor is delicious. It's just a little dry, which I think even maybe if I had not aged it quite as long, since my humidity wasn't high enough in there, it would have been better, but that's really delicious actually. So this can show up on my cheese board. I'm okay with that. We'll just cut the outside off of it. Good job. So, failed cheeses. Cheers. Well, thank you guys for watching. Again, if you've got any questions on any of this, leave it in the comments for me. I try to answer every comment. Please take the time to hit that subscribe button down below. It's that big red button. It really helps me out, and it helps us to continue to bring these videos to you. So, thank you so much for watching.